Okay, had a little bit of trouble there for a second. For those of you that are on this stream, thank you for joining. My name is Peter. I am the Integrations and Partnerships Manager at Alkemi Network. I have been with Alkemi for about 3.5 months now, but my experience with cryptocurrency and blockchain dates all the way back to 2013. So I've been with in the industry for a little while now. If you have any questions during this stream, please go ahead and leave them in the chat. I'll try and answer them, but otherwise, maybe at the end of this, we can do more of a Q&A so I can spend a little bit more time walking through this demo. So what this is going to be is I'm trying to keep this very high level to make this more for those who have never used DeFi before. So I'm going to show the Alkemi Earn protocol, how to use it, what it can do, how to get funds on the protocol from a bank account, and how to get funds off a protocol back to the bank account. So I guess before I go ahead and start, I should probably note that none of this is financial advice. Like anything in the crypto world, please double check every address and every location that you send funds, because it is very easy to have funds disappear. So to get started, I'll just briefly share my screen here and show what the Earn protocol looks like. All right, one moment. Okay, so the first thing you're going to see when you enter the Earn protocol is this page. And this page is essentially gives you the option to choose between the two pools that we have with Alkemi. The pools are essentially the same. The biggest difference is that the verified pool requires you to go through KYC verification. And the KYC verification can be accessed right here with this link if you did want to go through that process. It is a bank grade KYC, and we pretty much individually approve or deny every single application. So you can go ahead and do that process right here. It's a pretty standard KYC where we'll ask for maybe a business license if you go through the corporate KYC, or some passports and other documents if you went through the individualized KYC. One reason that users decide to go with the verified pool over the open pool, which by the way does not require KYC, is that typically the rates end up being a little bit higher on the verified protocol than the open unverified protocol. But just to give you a sense of what this looks like, is like we can look into this without being verified, by the way. So if you did want to ever check this out before going through the verification process, it is just earn.alkemi.network. And I can put this link right here. Okay, so if I click into this here, I'm gonna come back to all this later when we get to that point. But this is really the overview that you might want to see. So right here, you can see at this moment, there's $18 million US dollars deposited, lent to the protocol, and there's 9.99 million that is being borrowed. So anyone who is verified can lend to the protocol, and these are the rates that are currently set right now. So the 4 assets that we support are wrapped Bitcoin, Ethereum, USDC stablecoin, and DAI stablecoin. And we are paying these rates. Now these rates are broken down into 2 separate rates. If you hover over the number, you can see the breakdown. So the top number, which right now for Ethereum is 4.69, that is the amount that you will earn in that cryptocurrency. The bottom rate is the rewards APY, which is paid in the ALK token, the Alkemi ALK token. Now I can touch on what the ALK token is later on, but just know that you will get this combined rate, and that these rates are dynamic based on what is currently being lent and borrowed to the protocol at any given time. Same with the borrowing side. If you did decide to take out a loan, we can hover over here and we can see that these rates act in a very similar way to the deposit rates, where they're broken down into the borrowing APY, which is the amount that you will have to pay back to the protocol if you do decide to take out a loan. But the bottom rate is a rewards APY. So with all of these coins, if you decide to borrow from the protocol, you will earn rewards in the ALK token. So with this bottom one for DAI as a good example, like yes, it's going to cost you 2.98% to take out a loan in DAI, but Alkemi will pay you 2.66% in the ALK token. So that works out to be 0.32%. So I'll just back it up now and just sort of describe what you need to use this protocol. So there's just a couple things. It's not too complicated, and I can also demonstrate a way that you can skip a couple steps along the way. So the first thing you'll need is a Web3 wallet that can interact with this protocol. So for this example, I'm just going to use MetaMask because it's probably the most popular in the world. Very simple and easy to use, and it's free. It's easy to set up. So I'm just going to use this other browser to do so, but you can use Firefox, Chrome, Brave, Microsoft Edge. Pretty much any popular browser is supported by MetaMask. So you would just come here to metamask.io. I can put the link up here. You would hover over to download now. You would click install, add to Chrome, add extension. And then it might get hidden. Actually, I'll just go over this first. You are going to have to go through this process and set up a new wallet. So you would click create a new wallet, click I agree, create a password. I'm just going to do test. Skip that for now. This is probably the most important part of this whole process. These words are going to help you recover your wallet if you change browsers or change computers or you forget your password. These secret words you have to remember. Maybe, I mean, they say not to copy them, so you might as well write them down in the order. So definitely do that. I'm going to actually move this over here for a second while I reveal mine. But write them down and then store them in a safe place and do not lose them, because if you do lose them, then you will not be able to capture your funds back. So just give me a moment while I type these words in the same order. Talent, market, almost done here. Okay, so this is what you'll see afterwards. It will look like this. You'll click all done. And then this is your wallet. So you're pretty much set here at least with Ethereum. One other thing that we're going to do for this demo is I'm also just going to add another token. So I'll just come to import tokens and I'm going to type in USDC, the stable coin. Import. And now we can see both of them here. So it's also hidden over here. So you can click this pin button and that will keep it out. So that will make it nice and easy to access. And then we're done. So with MetaMask, we are done for now. So the next thing to do is to move funds from your bank account onto an exchange. So the easiest way to do that is probably if you're in the US with Coinbase. So I already have a Coinbase account. You could use this version of Coinbase, although I think for simplicity purposes, it's actually easier to use Coinbase Pro. If you already have a Coinbase account, you can access Coinbase Pro with the same credentials. So to do so, you would come into Coinbase Pro. You would click, well, you would have to connect your bank account first, but after you do so, click deposit, and then click USD if you are depositing US dollars. You could use any of these three options. If you use bank account, just keep in mind that it will take a couple days before the funds settle into your Coinbase account before you can then move them off to do any DeFi with Alkemi. But for this example, I'm just going to click this one, and then you can type in the amount you want. So I'll just say, we'll just say like $1,000 as an example. Click review deposit, and deposit. And that, like this is saying, it would take 7 days. So you would click deposit, and then that would put them right here where it says US dollars. That's where they would sit. From there, what you would want to do is convert it to USDC. So USDC is a stable coin that I believe Coinbase partially owns. Stablecoin just means that one USDC will always be worth $1. The price is theoretically not ever supposed to change. So you would come here and you click USDC, convert to USDC. You would type in the max amount that you would want to do. I would recommend doing the full amount. So we would just put in $1,000. You would click convert, and it would go ahead and convert that to USDC, which would then pop up right here. After that, the next step would be to come and withdraw it. So you would come to withdraw. You would click USDC, which I have none right now, but I will show you how to use it later on. You would click USDC. You would click crypto address. And now this is when we come back to MetaMask. So the MetaMask we used before has a wallet address associated with it. So this is all going to be done on the Ethereum network. Right now, I think Coinbase only supports the Ethereum network for USDC, and the Alkemi protocol only supports the Ethereum network for USDC. So what you're going to want to do is you want to click this button right here, where it says copy to clipboard, or you can also, if you have the extension pinned, you can click this button right here. And that's going to copy your wallet address to the clipboard. So you're going to want to paste that right here and click use this address. You can see that it verified that it is an actual USDC address. So that's great. And then I'd come in here and I'd type in the amount that I just deposited. So in this case, it would have been $1,000, or you could just click the max button. But I have none in here right now, so it's not going to work for me. One thing to keep in mind is that there is going to be a network fee. So this is the fee that is charged to basically run the blockchain network on Ethereum. Unfortunately, this is not something you can avoid. It is not a Coinbase fee. It is a fee to pay the miners for Ethereum. So that is something that we're going to have to deal with actually a couple times while we're doing this. And I'll mention the times that there will be a gas fee. This is called a gas fee. So this will be the first gas fee to move it from your Coinbase account to the MetaMask account. So once you have the correct wallet address pasted in there, you just go ahead and click withdraw. And it might take a little bit of time, a few minutes, but it's as simple as that, is taking your wallet address from here, pasting it in the to area, choosing how much you want to move over, and then clicking withdraw. So once that is done, we are almost at the point where we can deposit into Earn. So I'm actually going to close out of this one now because I have a test MetaMask account set up specifically for this demonstration. So in this example, we'll just imagine that I just moved, we'll just stick with $1,000. So I just moved $1,000 from Coinbase into MetaMask, and it would show up right here. So I have a little bit more showing right here, but we can just use the $1,000 that I've mentioned a few times. And I am currently using the Rinkeby test network just because it's easier for demonstrations like this. But when you are doing this, you're going to want to make sure that this is set to the Ethereum mainnet, not the test network, because this will not work for you on the test network. Okay, moving to the Earn protocol. So head to earn.alkemi.network again. And the process from here is exactly the same if you chose to go with the verified option or if you chose to go with the unverified option. With the test network, it only works on the unverified option, so we're going to go ahead and use that one. But just keep in mind that the process is exactly the same, but for this option, you do have to do the KYC verification. So go ahead and click Earn Open. Now, the next step is to connect your wallet to the protocol. So you would click Connect right here. Now, we're using MetaMask, but if you have another Web3 wallet that you'd like to use, you can click Wallet Connect, and the integration is pretty seamless, but we're going to just use MetaMask for this example because it's very simple, easy, and fast. So just like that, it's already connected me to the protocol. You can see right here that I have an active deposit sitting here, but I'm just going to deposit a little bit more for the sake of this demonstration. You can see that for me, it says I'm connected to the Rinkeby network. It will not say that for you, so don't worry about this. I'm just going to close that. So from here, you can come on the left side to lend, and this is where you would lend the funds that you just moved over from Coinbase to the Alkemi protocol. So the first thing to do is on your end, actually, let me just open up another page real quick. On your end, it's going to say enable. So the first thing you need to do is enable the coin that you want to lend to the protocol. Keep in mind when you're doing this, it will show a fourth for DAI, but the first thing you're going to need to do is enable the coin that you want to lend to the protocol. So with this example, we were going to use USDC. So I've already done it, but you would click enable, and there will be a gas fee for that. But once that is done, then you can come and click deposit. So type in, we'll just say the $1,000. Click deposit, and this is where it would show the gas fee. So you would have already seen this by clicking enable. So click confirm, and it will take a few seconds. And there it goes. So it should pop up here. There we go. So now my $1,000 USDC deposit has successfully been lent to the Alkemi protocol and will immediately start earning interest. This test network is showing that it's at 51% interest. That is not accurate for what you might see on your end. Again, this is just for test purposes. But this immediately starts earning interest, and you can see the interest that you're earning right here. You will have to individually enable every single asset market if you do want to lend more than one coin, and there will be gas fees for each one of those. But if all you want to do was deposit money to earn the interest rates, then from here you are done. And you can just kind of set it and forget it if you wanted to. But I'm going to go a little bit further and discuss borrowing. So after you deposit, if you did want to borrow, you can borrow up to 80% of your active deposit. So right now I have $1,000 deposit of USDC, and I have a little bit of Ethereum in here as well, but we're just going to pay attention to this $1,000. So you come over to borrow, and maybe I want to borrow some Ethereum. So we'll still have to enable these coins first, but after you enable it, which again is a gas fee, you would come and click borrow, and you can choose how much you want to borrow. So we'll just say maybe I want to borrow 0.001 ETH. Keep in mind that you will have to repay a little bit of interest on the borrow, but once you decide how much you want, you can click borrow. There will be a gas fee. And just like with depositing, we wait a few seconds, and then once this is done, that borrow will be sent directly to your MetaMask account. So now I should have a little bit more Ethereum in here than I did before. It's kind of hard to tell because I already had a bunch of Ethereum in here. But with that, once you borrow it, you can do whatever you want with that Ethereum. You can swap it for another coin. You can spend it, maybe. You could send it to another protocol. You could even redeposit it back into the Alkemi protocol. Sometimes there's a good reason to do that, and I can touch on that maybe during the Q&A at the end if someone would like to know why you would want to do that. But in terms of the protocol itself, that is pretty much everything. There's also this liquidations section that I'll just briefly touch on. So you can borrow up to 80% of your collateral. If at some point your collateral maybe decreases in price because maybe you decide to lend Bitcoin or Ethereum and the price dropped, bringing you over that 80% collateral, it does create a liquidation event. And when that happens, then others can come here and pay off part of that loan at a discount to bring you back to that 80%, which is why it's a little bit safer if you're going to take out a loan to deposit stablecoins as collateral and also borrow stablecoins as collateral. But just keep that in mind. As long as you're not too close to the 80% mark, then you should be good to go. So to repay the loan, it is the pretty much same process. You would come here, you would click repay. So I'll just repay that Ethereum we just took out. I'll just do max. So there's a little bit more. We started with 0.001. Now it's a little bit further than that because of the interest. Click repay. There would be a gas fee. Now, while this is waiting to process, just keep in mind as well that when you do take out a loan against your collateral, that locks the collateral into the smart contract. So you cannot take out your principal deposit until the loans are repaid. So that has been repaid. This should disappear. Yep, there it goes. And that brings the total borrowed back down. And now if I wanted to, I can take the Ethereum, or in this case, I guess the USDC back out. So we started with $1,000. You can already see right here, it's gone up a little bit. So that's the interest. And if I wanted to take this out, I would just click withdraw. Maybe I want to do the max. There will be a gas fee. And then this is just going to go straight back into my wallet, into the MetaMask wallet. Okay, so that should come back down here. Yep, okay. So that $1,000 is back now in the MetaMask wallet. And now maybe I want to send it back to my bank account. The process is just about as simple as when we sent it off of Coinbase to send it back to Coinbase. So you would come to Coinbase Pro or regular Coinbase. This time, instead of clicking withdraw, you would click deposit. We were using USDC, so we would come to USDC, crypto address, understand. Now this is our wallet address on Coinbase. So in this case, we would copy this address with this button right here, come back to MetaMask, and now you would click send. Oh, sorry. We would click USDC, click send, and now paste that address that we just took from Coinbase. You will choose the amount, so we'll just do that 1,000. Click next, and then click confirm. And there will be a gas fee again. I'm not going to do that during this demo, but once you click confirm, it will take the 35 network confirmations, and then it will appear in your Coinbase portfolio. So after that, you'll see your $1,000 or whatever number you decide to do all this with in your portfolio here, and then you could just simply click convert to USD, and it's the same process as converting to USDC. You would just click the amount that you want to convert, click this blue button, and then it'll send USDC swapped to US dollars, which then you could withdraw to a bank account, I believe, from there. So that is pretty much the whole process for getting funds from your bank account to the blockchain, to the Web3 wallet, to the protocol, and using the protocol. A couple things I'm just going to touch on. One, we are highly considering looking into adding an on-ramp service to the protocol. We are most likely going to use this one, which is called Banksa. And how this is going to work is this sort of cuts out the whole need for Coinbase. So instead of going to Coinbase and depositing into Coinbase and then sending to MetaMask from there, we would have this Banksa option probably maybe up here on the top or maybe on the left side. But you would click that, and then it would open up a screen like this where you can decide the coin that you want to purchase. So maybe we'll just do Bitcoin, I guess. You put in the amount that you want to purchase, and it would give you the price at that exact moment. You would click connect to MetaMask, and it will connect to your MetaMask. And then you would click create order, and it's very simple. And then from there, you will have the funds in your MetaMask where you could then come to lend and borrow and do the exact same process. You can also go back to Banksa and from Banksa to your bank account. So you actually don't even need an exchange in this case once we get along to integrating that on and off ramp service. The ALK token is probably the last thing to touch on before I can start taking some questions. And the ALK token is the reward token that you get from these split interest rates here. So again, it's the bottom one that says rewards APY. And in order to claim that, it will actually come up to the top right here. So while you get your interest rates for the other coins, within that coin's balance, this one has to be manually claimed. So you'll see it up here in the corner. You would click the button, and then it will show your balance. It shows 0 for me just because, again, I'm using a test network. But you would just click claim, and then that would go from this box in the protocol to your MetaMask account. Keep in mind, there would be a gas fee for that. As of right now, the ALK token is not listed on any exchanges, although we have some in play. No exact timeline for that, but just keep that in mind. There are 2 ways, I guess, that you can get the ALK token. One is to lend and borrow from the protocol. The other is to go to a decentralized exchange. So one of those would be maybe Uniswap is a pretty good example. So you would put in the coin that you want to swap for the ALK token. So we can just, I guess, say Ethereum. This is the test network. I cannot show this on the test network actually. So you know what? I can come back to this because I don't have the token contract on me right now. You would basically take the ALK token contract. I'll just get it. I'll just get it now. It's easy. You will take the ALK token contract by going to a website like CoinGecko and typing in ALK. Coming to the right side here, you can click this little MetaMask button, and that will add the contract to your MetaMask. But I'm just going to click the one next to it, and then paste that right here. So it might not work on this network. So for this, I might have to switch this back to the Ethereum network. Paste the contract. There we go. Import. And this is how you would get it. So you would decide on the coin that you might want to swap for to ALK. So I guess in this case, we'll just use USDC. You can put in the amount that you want to swap. It'll give you a price, and then you would click this button, which would swap for you. I believe there's going to be 2 gas fees to do that. One to connect your wallet to this protocol, and the other to actually make the swap happen. So that's the other way to potentially get ALK token. Sushi Swap is another place that you can get the ALK token. It's exactly the same as Uniswap, where you would take the ALK token contract and you would paste it in here. The exact same process with connecting your wallet. Why would you want the ALK token is probably a good example or a good question. For 2 reasons. One, maybe you believe in the company like we do, and you think it's going to go up. 2, the ALK token can be used for voting purposes. So if you come to the protocol, I'll just do the open one for this example. If you come to the protocol and click these 3 dots here, you can come down to governance, and this will open up our the voting section of the Alkemi DAO. Where you can make a proposal for maybe a feature or a coin that you want added to the protocol. There's currently one showing right now that just passed recently to add GUSD to Alkemi Earn. So that is something that's going to happen soon. We are adding the 5th asset market of Gemini USD stablecoin, and you can see that. Where does it show this? Here we go. 1.5 million ALK tokens were allocated to vote yes for this protocol. So that is the main use case right now of the Alkemi protocol, is to steer voting for Alkemi in the company. Later on, there may be some more utility added to the ALK token, but for right now, you can hold it for its value or you can vote with it, but that is pretty much it. Okay, that was 30 minutes on the dot. Perfect. So I think there's a few comments on here. Let's see. Not sure what the first person is saying. Griffin Lasker is asking, is gas on Rinkeby the same as gas on the ETH network? No, they are not the same. The gas on the Rinkeby network is paid. Well, it's really you don't pay anything at all on the Rinkeby network because it's a test network. But gas paid on the Ethereum network is actual money that that you will have to pay to make the transaction happen. So actually, I forgot to mention this. Thank you, Griffin, for reminding me. I forgot to mention that after you move the funds from Coinbase to your MetaMask wallet, you will actually need a little bit of Ethereum in the wallet as well to pay for the gas to use the protocol. So make sure that you definitely have some Ethereum in there to pay for the gas fees. The gas fees vary throughout the day depending on network congestion. Typically, people recommend not using the Ethereum network during high transaction volume times. Just to give you an example of how many people try to use the network at the same time, check out TX Street. This is a great visual example of the people that are trying to use the network. So you can think of all these people on the left side here as people trying to make a transaction happen that are willing to pay a higher gas fee for a block to happen to make a transaction. But all these people underneath here are not willing to pay the higher gas fee, and there is a lot of them. A lot of them. It kind of just keeps going. So probably not a great time right now to make transactions happen. But keep in mind that the fees do vary throughout the day. I have seen them as low as a couple dollars, and I've seen them as high as a couple $1,000s. So just keep that in mind. Griffin is also asking how to toggle between KYC and non-KYC. It is as simple as this button in the bottom left here. You can choose between the two pools, although keep in mind, if you deposit into one of them, you cannot then borrow from the other one. They are completely separate pools, but you can use them both at the same time if you wanted to, because the interest rates are a little bit different. We can just take a quick look right now and see maybe what the difference looks like. I'm going to switch this. Okay, I'm good there. So right now we've got maybe the highest paying coin on the verified pool at 7.43%, and the lowest at 4.42. And the lowest cost coin to borrow right now would be DAI on the open pool. We are seeing much lower rates with the highest paying Ethereum at 2.75%. But actually what's interesting right now with the borrowing rates is that all three of these coins, if you decide to take out a loan on them, will pay you more in ALK token rewards than you will have to pay the protocol. So this is one of the reasons someone might choose to borrow. So maybe you decide to deposit some Bitcoin, and you would earn 2.58%. If you then decided to borrow USDC, you will owe the protocol 1%, but the protocol will pay you 2.66%. So theoretically, and this is one of the reasons why you might want to borrow and then redeposit, you could deposit Bitcoin, you could borrow USDC, and then you could redeposit that USDC right back into the protocol, and that will actually cover the cost of your borrow, well, at least in ALK token. Keep in mind that there will be multiple gas fees while that all happens. Mr. Watercap is asking, when will Starbucks accept my ALK? Good question. If you can get us on the phone with the Starbucks team, then we'll see if we can make that happen. Mr. Watercap, I think I mentioned this earlier. The ALK token right now is used for governance and just holding value right now. I think later on we might be able to add a staking option. If not on our protocol, then on some of our partners. But we are hoping to add some utility to that token later on. Griffin is talking about the gas fees. Yeah, they have been high. They are high. They have been high lately. If someone would like actually to propose an option in the governance section of the DAO, if someone would like to come and propose an option to add another chain, if you will, or side chain, maybe like Polygon Matic or the Binance Smart Chain, Phantom, Harmony One. If someone wanted to propose one of those, then if it passes and gets enough allocated to it for enough votes, then that is something that we could definitely entertain. That was the last question from the regarding the gas fees and the ALK token. I can switch this back. I'll be on here for another 24 minutes if anyone has any other questions. It looks like there's still 3 people watching. Yes, here we go. Yes, so the network fees are high today. Keep in mind that that changes throughout the day. Usually early morning or late at night is a good time to deposit into the protocol because the fees tend to be a little bit lower. But middle of the day is a pretty tough time when it comes to the gas fees. Griffin thinks that there might be something wrong with the contract. I will discuss with the development team, but we are working on optimizing the contract to help with the high gas fees, although it is not always up to us with that. David, why do people borrow tokens? That is a great question, and there are 5 reasons why someone would borrow a token. Let me just take a quick sip. So I will walk through all 5 reasons that someone would borrow the token. So number 1 is maybe you need access to quick funds. So in this example, let's just say you have a little bit of cash on hand and you have a lot of Bitcoin or a lot of Ethereum, but you don't want to sell your Bitcoin or Ethereum because you think that the price will go back up, and hopefully it will. You can get immediate cash by depositing into the protocol. So I can just show it as an example here. We'll switch back to the Rinkeby network. So let's just say with this example, we'll come and lend. We'll just say that we have a whole bunch of Bitcoin in this example. So in my wallet right now, I have 10,000 test Bitcoins. So we'll just say, let's say we have 10 Bitcoin at a price of $36,000, and we need cash fast for maybe a medical expense or another investment, or maybe any reason that you need easy, quick cash and you don't want to sell your Bitcoin or trade for it. You can deposit into the protocol. Taking a little bit longer than normal. But you can deposit into the protocol, and then you can come to borrow, and you can borrow against your deposit that just went through. So I just deposited 10 Bitcoins. So now I can borrow up to 80% of the 10 that I just deposited. So maybe I want USDC. That would be the easiest to spend. So I could easily now borrow like $30,000 if I wanted to. And this will just be deposited right into my wallet, which I could then send maybe to Coinbase, which you could use with the Coinbase credit card, because with that you can debit card, you can spend directly from your Coinbase account with a Coinbase debit card, which is great. I'd love to do that. That's one reason. The other 4 are take it a little bit further than that. One of them being the fact that you do get bonus rewards by borrowing. So while I just borrowed USDC, while it's going to cost me, if you can see this, it's going to cost me 4.45% to take out that loan. But the protocol is going to pay me 28.13%. So in cases like this, where the rewards APY is higher than the borrowing APY, I will actually make more money than I'm going to owe the protocol by taking out a loan. That was number 2. Number 3 and 4 involve going off the protocol and then back onto the protocol. And so what I mean by that is, so for reason number 3 is maybe you think the price of Bitcoin is going to go up. Maybe you think the price of Bitcoin is going to go up. So how you can take advantage of that with our protocol is you would deposit a stable coin. So we'll just come and deposit USDC. We'll just say $1,000 worth. I guess you could do this with any deposit. So you would make your initial deposit, come to borrow, and then borrow stablecoin. The most important thing to understand with what I'm explaining right now is when you swap and when you borrow. So you make your initial deposit, and now you come and make sure you borrow stablecoin with this example. So you would come to borrow and do however much you think you want to invest in the Bitcoin. So we'll just say, I don't know, we'll just do $10,000 with this. I can borrow up to 11,000 with my initial deposit, but we'll just say, let's say I'm borrowing 10,000. I then swap my 10,000 for Bitcoin on a swap like Uniswap. So I just did USDC. Let's see if I can grab that token address for this. I think this one might be the one. No, maybe it's this one. I'm having a little bit of trouble grabbing this token address. But what you would do is you would swap. Actually, I'll just switch this network to Ethereum. It will make it a little bit easier. You would swap the USDC you just borrowed for Bitcoin. So we just did $10,000 worth. You would get maybe this much money. Right now, the price of Bitcoin is worth $36,952. When the price of Bitcoin goes up, you would then swap back the other way around, back to stablecoin. So if the price of Bitcoin went from 36,900 to maybe an all-time high of 70,000, now this swap of the same amount of Bitcoin is going to this number of 10,000 is going to be a lot higher. So you're going to get a lot more USDC stablecoin when you swap back. I need to change my network back. And then now that you have more funds than you took out in the loan, you would just go back to borrow and you would pay back the loan you just took out. So I think in this example, I took out a loan of $10,000. So I would pay back that $10,000. And because the price of Bitcoin went up, I would now get to capture the difference of however high Bitcoin went up. Which, I mean, if we did this with one Bitcoin, it could be a $30,000 profit. That's reason number 3, someone borrows. Reason number 4 is pretty much the same idea, but flipped. Maybe you think the price of Bitcoin or Ethereum is going to go down. In this case, I guess this is also called shorting the coin. So with this example, we still have a decent amount of deposits, so we can take out a nice borrow. But in this case, let's just say the price of Bitcoin we think is going to go down. So we're going to borrow Bitcoin. Instead of borrowing stablecoin, now we're borrowing Bitcoin. Keep that in mind. So we can borrow up to 7. Let's just say 1. We're borrowing 1 Bitcoin. 1 Bitcoin at a price of $36,798. the next thing we're going to do after we borrow this Bitcoin is we are going to immediately swap that Bitcoin for stablecoin. So we would come here, we would click wrapped Bitcoin, we would click the stablecoin here, and we would click swap. So that is basically selling the Bitcoin at the exact price at that exact time. So we said around 36,900. If the price of Bitcoin goes down, we still have $36,900 worth of stablecoin to spend. But now when we swap back, it's going to cost us less money for that one Bitcoin. So maybe the price went from 36,900 to, I'm just going to use an extreme example here, maybe down to $5,000 for that one Bitcoin. When we swap back, it's not going to cost us 36,900. It's only going to cost us $5,000 to get that same one Bitcoin, which then when we come back and repay, we're not repaying $36,000 worth. We're only repaying $5,000 worth because that's the price of Bitcoin now. So you come back to repay, you would type in your one Bitcoin, and you will still have to swap back, by the way. So you would take, instead of 36,900, you would take only 5,000 maybe, assuming the price goes down, to swap back for your one Bitcoin, which you can then repay, pay off the loan, and now with this example, you just made $31,900. So that is the second example for why someone would borrow, and the fourth example. The last reason why someone would decide to borrow on this platform is to maximize yield. And I love talking about this because this is the coolest thing that you can do in DeFi that you can't really do in traditional finance, at least not that I'm aware of. So for this example, I'm going to actually not use the Alkemi network. I'm going to use the verified pool. Keep in mind that you do have to be approved to do this, and to become approved, you just need to go to kyc.alkemi.network. So the last reason, like I said, is to maximize yield. And so how do we do that? We do that by looking at the deposits and borrows and decide which deposits are paying the most and which borrows charge the least. So right now, it looks like ETH and wrapped Bitcoin are paying the most, and it looks like DAI and USDC are charging the least. So in this example, let's just say we'll do $10,000. So in this example, we're depositing $10,000 of ETH. Maybe I can get my notepad up on here, on-screen notepad, so I can kind of write this all out. Okay. So we're depositing 10K of ETH. And then while we're depositing it, we're going to get 7.43% on that ETH. 7.43% at 7.43%. Okay. We could be done here, but if we take it a step further, which is why people decide to borrow, instead of getting 7.43%, we could turn that into a much higher rate. And what we're going to do next is we're going to choose the coin that charges the least amount to borrow. So in this example, we're going to go with DAI. So the price of DAI is going to be 0.32%. So that's 2.98 and 2.66. So we'll borrow, let's just say half. Borrow 5K in DAI. Can I make this bigger? There we go. Borrow 5K in DAI at, what was it? 2.98%. But we're also going to earn the 2.66. in ALK token. I gotta make this all bigger. So it's going to cost us 2.98, but we're going to make 2.66 in the ALK token for the rewards APY, and that comes out to a total of 0.32%. Then now that we have DAI, we can just swap it for the token that is paying the most. So we started with ETH. Let's swap it for another stablecoin. So we would go to Uniswap. We would choose the DAI that we just borrowed. We would choose maybe USDC, which is not showing here because it's a test network. We would do that swap. How do I get back here? We would do that swap. We'll just say swap DAI for USDC. And now we deposit that 5K that we just swapped for, that we just borrowed, back into the protocol at 5.79%. So just to recap, we start our deposit with $10,000 of ETH at 7.43%. We're borrowing 5,000 in DAI, which part of that is we're getting paid in the ALK token, but because of the difference, it's really only costing us 0.32%. With that 5%, we're redepositing it, we're swapping it to a stablecoin that pays a higher rate, and then we're redepositing that into the protocol. So now we're getting interest. We're getting 5.79% interest on the 5K that we borrowed, as well as 7.43% on the 10K of our initial deposit, but it's only costing us really 2.98%, but once you account for the ALK, it only comes out to 0.32%. So on a 10K deposit, we're actually getting interest on $15,000 worth of deposits. And because we just deposited, that raises our collateral, so we can now go ahead and borrow some more if we wanted to. So we can go ahead and borrow another maybe 3K of DAI. Actually, I'll just copy this one right here. We'll borrow another 3K of DAI at a combined rate of 3.2%. We're going to swap the DAI again for USDC, and we're going to reddeposit that USDC, that 3K of USDC at 5.79%. So all in all, we're only paying interest 0.32% on the 3K, and we're paying the 0.32% on the 5K. So 8K in borrows we're paying interest on, but we're getting interest. We're earning interest on our initial 10K plus the 5K borrow plus the 3K borrow, and we're earning a lot more on our deposits than we're paying in borrows. So you can do this many times depending on your initial collateral deposit. That is, I think they call that yield farming, and some people make a lot of money doing that, especially if you start with a high principal deposit. That is the fifth and final reason that people decide to borrow. Keep in mind that borrowing is very risky, and there are liquidation events if your collateral dips below the 80%. But that is one of the more popular reasons that people decide to take out loans. And also keep in mind that after you do borrow, if you want to take your funds back out of the protocol, it is not letting me zoom out. If you do want to take your funds back out, you do have to pay back those loans before they get unlocked. I don't know why it's not letting me zoom out. Okay, no problem, David. I am glad that helped. I'll be on for another 5 minutes if anyone has any other questions. But hopefully this was a helpful explanation of the Alkemi Earn protocol. David is asking why deposit APY is larger than borrow APY. Let's see. That is a good question. It is, so if you look into the rates right now, you can see it really what really makes more sense is when you hover over them. So the 5.79 is broken down into two rates, and that's 3.10% paid in USDC and 2.69% paid in the ALK token. If you hovered over the lend rate, the borrow rate for taking out a loan, it's a higher APY that you're going to pay in USDC than the amount that you would get paid to deposit into the protocol. So while the number in some cases, like right now on the open pool, I still don't know why I can't zoom. Here we go. So this is probably a better example, David. So while you will earn more in taking out a loan on the open pool right now, the cost to borrow is still higher than the amount that you'll earn in interest on these coins by depositing. For some reason right now, I think maybe because I'm on the test network, no. I'm not sure why it's showing 0 on deposits for these. It's not always like that. But I mean, these are only 1%. So I don't know if there's ever a time, David, when the actual cost to borrow, not including the ALK token, will ever be lower than the amount that you'll earn on a deposit APY. It should always be higher. That's how the protocol makes money. It's how, I guess you could say, I make money too, as someone who is working on this project. So Bitcoin is a good example. It's going to cost you 10.39% in Bitcoin to pay back that loan APY, and you're only going to earn 2.51%. So the protocol will capture the spread there, I guess, as a way to make money, and they should all be that way. But like I just showed you on the open pool, there are opportunities quite often when you can make some extra money on the rewards APY just by taking out a loan, which again you would have to claim from up here. So hopefully that explained it, David. Happy to chat further with you, maybe at another time. If that didn't explain it, let me see. I'll add my email here. That's my email. I'm more than happy to do a one-on-one with anyone that is interested in diving a bit deeper with this. But that is pretty much the overview of the protocol with lending and borrowing. Not sure if this is going to be if this was recorded or not, but it's a very simple protocol. The reason that we keep it that way is because it was designed more for institutions than for retail users. It's why we haven't really fully tackled the gas problem yet, because some institutions are making deposits of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or millions of dollars, where gas fees don't seem to be a problem for them. But we do understand that for retail users, it can be an issue. But it is something that we might consider this year, if maybe if there's a governance proposal for it. While I'm on for a minute, if there's any other questions, I'm happy to entertain them. We've got about, I don't know, 30 or so seconds, 30 seconds. But please go ahead and send me an email with any other questions. Thank you as well, David. And Michael. And Griffin. I think we are just about at time. Right about now. Okay. Thank you, everyone who joined. Again, my email is just peter@alkemi.ai. I'm happy to entertain any questions or walk through the demo again, if you'd like. We have a lot of big things happening very soon. So stay tuned and follow the Twitter and Discord and Telegram groups. Thank you, and we will all talk soon.